The Armour All Summer Grill, your off-season fix of V8 Supercars news and views, with Grant Rowley and Cameron McConville.
The Armour All Summer Grill continues. Today, the sale of V8 Supercars, perhaps one of the most significant moments in the sport's history. Today is the 31st of December and it marks exactly 12 months since speedcafe.com rolled out its first story on the potential sale of the sport. 6 months after that story, Archer Capital purchased a majority stake. Now Cam, a great moment for the sport, not such a great moment for us, we're not rec holders.
No, and look, you're right, you want to be a rec holder, don't you? But with any business, you expect a return or a dividend, and clearly that's what the V8 Supercar teams have got this year. I think without it, it would have made car of the future, and the amount of resourcing and tooling up that's happening for these cars, virtually impossible for some of the smaller teams like Brad Jones Racing, Tony D'Alberto, perhaps Techno Autosports, the one-car teams. So it's kept them in the game. They deserve it because they've been a stakeholder for a long time, most of the rec holders, and hopefully it also puts the sport on the map internationally as well, even more so than it already has been.
Now, to get a further insight on what it means for the team owners, I spoke to a number of them about what the sale of V8 Supercars and part of their business means to them.
The obvious at the time in financial input, etc. But hopefully it gives us a platform upon which to grow the sport and build on our success over the last 15 years going forward. The time will tell whether it was a good thing. You can only look back on something like that and say, was it successful? But certainly I'm very happy with what we did in hindsight as to where we are today. And I certainly think as we face the challenges in the next year or two of trying to grow the sport in a increasingly difficult in some ways at the moment economic environment, that we've actually got a good group of people in the Archer guys to work with.
So 5 or 6 months into it, was it the right decision? Was it rolled out the way that it best should have been?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I first thought about it 18 months ago almost. And thick end of 18 months ago, and then went and spoke to Tim Miles about it, and we shaped a strategy which, to be honest, I'm very happy with today as well, because I believe it gives us that platform that I referred to just now, that's so important for the next couple of years to really put the foundations under the growth of the sport as much as possible.
Well, effectively there's no difference, probably good timing for the sale and everything, and good to have new partners in the V8 Supercar business that bring some new skills and new style to the whole thing, so I'm looking forward to the future with them.
It's been pretty transparent on the way through. We've seen some new directors move on the main board level. We've seen the institution of some new instrumentalities, for want of a word, in relation to the way the sport is run. And I think that basically it's been pretty positive, but the changes haven't been too obvious. As I said, they've been rather transparent, but what's going to be happening in the new year and following years is where we'll see all the changes really occur.
Now, as part of the new ownership structure within V8 Supercars, a new board was created and a brand new V8 commission. Part of that commission was a totally independent member, and his name is Chris Lambden, former racer, publisher and respected Australian motorsport journalist. I caught up with him for him to explain exactly what his role is and how the commission works.
Chris Lambden, can you explain your position on the commission and what the commission has been implemented for?
Well, it was created in the lead up to the sale of the V8 Supercars, as you know, and I think it emerged from the fact that the board was pretty busy and spending a lot of time on sort of trivia in relation to technical matters and the actual race day stuff. So the idea was that the commission would take over that role and effectively run the sporting side of the business. And as part of that, they resolved that they would have an independent commissioner as part of the group. Someone with no ties to any of the teams, sponsors, that kind of thing, and that's where I came in. And spoke to a couple of people at the time, and here we are.
So, 4 or 5 months into it, do you see it working? Do you see that this is the right structure?
I think it's good from my perspective to have a side of business that looks after the sport primarily, because that's where my personal interests are, and I presume it's doing the business for the board so that they can get on with the major stuff that they have to deal with in terms of events, organising events, future decisions, that kind of thing. The technical side of it and everything that happens at the racetrack, to me that's the more fascinating side, and so far there's been no angry voices or punches thrown, and I think the group of people they've got together has got a wide enough background that you do get an opinion from a number of different angles.
That was Chris Lambden. The last word on this subject should go to Tony Cochran, the man responsible for putting the sport in the position it is today.
Was the sale of V8 Supercars the biggest thing, the biggest moment of your time in the sport?
Yeah, look, I think it was a pretty, it was exciting because, if we go back to year one when we started it off, I remember, I can remember the first week we had to raise $25,000 to pay some pre-existing bills that the teams owned. So, if you go back and you reflect on day one, February 1997, and you're trying to find $25,000 to pay bills, and 15 years on, the business sells for an enterprise value over 300 million. Somebody has done something right during that period of time. And in our case, all the team owners, everybody in the management group has done a lot of things right. And, I think the sale reflects that. And I think the sale, like the announcement that's coming today and announcements we've got coming in February, March of next year, reflect the strength of the business and the size of the business going forward, and it reflects the influence our sport's going to have in the world of motorsport.
You're on the Armour All Summer Grill. More tomorrow.